right? Okay. Everything says we're live, so I'm going to assume that's correct. And so what up, nerds? I'm Lester. Welcome to your mom's basement. And this is This Week in the Basement. We're gonna talk news. That's what we're gonna talk. And as far as news items go, this week was pretty sparse for me. And the things that I like to talk about. So I have 2 items from Games Workshop, one item from Corvus Belli, and I picked up Codex Dark Angels. So we'll talk about Codex Dark Angels a little bit because I like it. I like it a lot, and it came out in standard retailers probably this week. I think it might have even come out on shelves today. I didn't pick up Codex Blood Angels, even though it came out in the last week, because Blood Angels are stupid. So anyways, let's go ahead and check these news items real quick. I'm going to start actually with Corvus Belli's announcement from Infinity, where they announced this week the Druz Bayram Security sectorial. So a mercenary sectorial. And that's awesome. That's pretty rad, alright? It contains the Druz shock teams, brawlers, mercenary enforcers, who will probably live up to their name, and authorized bounty hunters, Bashi bazooks, the Anaconda mercenary tags, Hunzakoots, and then a smattering of Pano remotes. So this is just a really neat sectorial. But the things that make it really neat are having in it Security Chief Arslan, Valeria Gromaz, mercenary hacker, who you don't see in a lot of the sectorials. I mean, she's in Corregidor, the Corregidor sectorial for nomads, but hey, you don't see her much anywhere else. Saito Togen, mercenary ninja, but with a specialist operative profile. And having specialists that have the TO camo and infiltration, especially with all of the other cool stuff that with ninjas do, right? And Saito Togen specifically being a TO camo ninja with smoke grenades and an explosive close combat weapon, amazing. Then Scarface and Cordelia, and Armand Lemuit, and of course Warhorse. So you can check that out on infinitythegame.com if you want. I'm looking at it right now, and it's pretty awesome. I won't be playing it, most likely, but, it's there, and it's neat. Next up from Games Workshop, they have put together, and released their schedules, and like how they're going to be scheduling the frequently asked questions in the future coming up in this next year, and they have an actual yearly schedule for FAQs. So now regular updates are happening with FAQs happening twice a year. They're going to be coming out in March and September with major FAQs. And, of course, Codex errata are going to be coming a couple of weeks after each Codex. They say Codex errata. I think of it more of as complete book errata because, they've already released the latest FAQ and errata for Chapter Approved, which only has, 3 items in it. And, well, there it is. It's interesting. Which is funny. I don't know. Just the book that is basically FAQs, the book got an FAQ, or errata's the book. And then once a year they're going to come out with a new Chapter Approved. So again, big FAQ 1 in March. So we're going to see one in a few months. Big FAQ 2 in September with a Chapter Approved, probably also coming out in autumn. That's when I would expect Chapter Approveds to come out because, well, they want to sell them, and they want to sell them and have them out for Christmas. Then the thing that I think that's really cool from this week, coming out of Games Workshop, is the announcement of the easy to build kits. Right, so we have some. We have 4 kits that are coming out soon that they've opened up pre-orders for today. They are the Space Marine Aggressors, the Space Marine Redemptor Dreadnoughts, the Myphitic Blight Hauler, and Lord Felthiest and his Tainted Cohort. So that's 2 Death Guard and 2 Space Marine kits coming out with this easy to build, which is not a lot of pieces per model, and on top of that, apparently requires no glue. So no glue, they're going to come out rapidly, or not rapidly, excuse me, they're going to be apparently easy to build, probably snap fit, and with very few pieces. Their big example here is that the Redemptor Dreadnought kit is down from 109 pieces to 12 pieces in the easy to build kit, and those pre-releases opened up today, or their pre-orders opened up today, excuse me. Amazing thought, I guess. I mean, my thought on this is that it's great. It's great way to get people into the hobby, and having looked at other kits that you can kind of get that are smaller kits, they come pre-colored. They come in colored plastic. So like the Space Marine ones they come in ultramarine blue plastic already. So I assume that these are going to as well, and then the Death Guard are going to come in like this sort of sickly green color. I don't think that's great. I don't really care about that because I paint my stuff anyway, which if you are on the facebook.com/YMBminiatures, then you've seen that we like to paint around here, and we like to have stuff painted on the table, so I don't really care if things come pre-colored. But the amazing thing about this as well is because they're smaller kits with fewer pieces. I'm looking at this pre-order. I'm probably going to be pre-ordering ordering myself a Primaris Redemptor Dreadnought at some point soon, because the Primaris Redemptor Dreadnought with the easy to build kit is $40 US. $40 US. And the aggressors, that's 3 aggressors in the easy to build Primaris Aggressors kit, 35 USD. Lord Feltius and his Tainted Cohort, that's Death Guard Terminators, come in at a whopping $40 USD, and 1 Myphitic Blight Hauler is 25 USD. And, oh my gosh. Just, oh my gosh. How do we, I don't know. That's just a great deal, especially for people who don't necessarily believe in WYSIWYG like myself, right? I don't really care about WYSIWYG. So having these smaller kits that don't have a lot of options on them is totally fine by me. I love it, and it's pretty inexpensive, honestly. Like, I don't know, and probably a great way. Easy gift giving is probably going to be the thing. I'm really surprised that they didn't release these earlier, so that they would come out for Christmas 2017. But, you know, still great that they exist and are coming. So look forward to the Redemptor Dreadnought coming my way, and the Aggressors, because I think they are very cool looking, even in the easy to build kits. So just because we're moving rapidly tonight, we're just going fast, going real fast. No comments from chat, so we don't have to talk a lot tonight, and that's fine by me because I think I want to go see a movie. So let's talk about Codex Dark Angels a little bit. Codex Dark Angels came out this week, and it is rad. A few let's just let's start over. Let's just start with this, like it's its own video right now. So the first thing to know about Codex Dark Angels is that it is an expansion from Index Imperium 1, and the Dark Angels. First of all, it changes the list that they of standard Space Marine stuff that they get from Codex Imperium 1. So it adds things like the Stalker, the Storm Raven gunship, which I think is probably a great addition to their forces, and all of the Terminator types and the Contemptor Dreadnought, which they did not have access to before. Now, they changed the names of some things, of course, for the sake of the Dark Angels. Like, they don't just have regular chaplains, they have interrogator chaplains, their captains are called masters, and things like that. But let's get into the meat of this. They basically have a chapter tactic. Their chapter tactic is Grim Resolve, where you can reroll all hit rolls of 1 for this unit, and the units that get it are bikes, infantry, and dreadnoughts. Right? There's a great use for your easy to build Redemptor Dreadnought, right? Because he can sit still and just plink away. So you can reroll all hit rolls of 1 for this unit whenever it shoots, including when firing Overwatch, and so long as it did not move in its movement phase. So as long as it's sitting still, right? So you have infantry, bikes, and your bikes are never sitting still, but hey, infantry, bikes, and dreadnoughts, they are going to shoot a lot better just every time they shoot. In addition, this unit can never lose more than 1 model as the result of any single failed morale roll. So I've already talked about this when I did the spoiler chat, when they were doing all the spoilers for Codex Dark Angels. You can find that in the last in This Week In, and it was a This Week in Warhammer. So this one here, the emphasis that Dark Angels has, I think, and I think Dark Angels really should have always had, there's a real big emphasis on Terminators, and not just, having like a group of 5 Terminators to drop onto things. I'm talking big, fat, full units of Terminators, because they're tough when they're together, and hard to remove, and can just sit and hold objectives for almost forever. And whatever comes their way, they will mess up, and that's awesome, because I have been totally I've been totally disenfranchised on Terminators this whole edition, but Deathwing Terminators seem like they might be a thing that I'll be adding to my forces, especially with some of these stratagems. So they get pretty much the full suite of standard Space Marine stratagems: relics, linebreaker bombardment, orbital bombardment, wisdom of the ancients, hellfire shells, things like that. So with some definite flavor stuff, right? The Lion and the Wolf, which, again, I love completely, and will definitely probably be featured at some point once I get some Dark Angels in here to really make use of it. But the thing that probably my favorite stratagem here, which I had a long talk with Radical Edward about already, was Secret Agenda. So this is 1 CP, Dark Angel's stratagem. Use this stratagem before the battle if you are playing a mission that uses tactical objectives. For the duration of the battle, keep your tactical objectives secret from your opponent. Only reveal tactical objectives when they are achieved. Amazing. Amazing fluff bit, right? Radical Edward thinks that it's broken. I don't really. I disagree. I think you'll have to play around it for sure when it comes down to the ability of people playing against the Dark Angels, but it's so well within the theme and the fluff of the Dark Angels as a force. Oh, hey, what up, Progenet? What up, nerd? I'm talking news, buddy. I'm talking news. You already have your copy of Codex Dark Angels? Because I'm going over mine right now and things I love, right? I was already talking about Secret Agenda, dude. Secret Agenda has me so excited. And The Lion and the Wolf, of course. Of course I love Lion and the Wolf. And Hunt the Fallen, we already talked about that in the spoiler chat. Again, last week's. Check up in the playlist. Hell yeah. Oh yeah, you're bringing them to Las Vegas Open, right? Oh man. I'm so excited about that. All right. But I'm also really excited about just Terminators in general. Deathwing Terminators. Deathwing Terminators, Deathwing Terminators, Deathwing Terminators. I'm more excited about Deathwing Terminators than I am about Ravenwing bikes and things like that, personally. But that's just me. Because I feel like Deathwing Assault is where it's at as well. With when is Las Vegas Open, Progenet? Oh, there was an Azrael nerf? Oh. How'd they nerf Azrael? Good. Go ahead and bitch, man. Because I haven't taken a chance. I haven't had the chance today. Because I just got the book. To really, dig in and see the differences between Imperium 1. January 26th to 28th. Okay. So right after Christmas. I haven't gotten a chance to really dig into the differences between Index Imperium 1, and I keep looking over there because I'm staring at Index Imperium 1 on the table. And his 4R++ is only vehicles and infantry? Oh, well. I mean, you know what? It's still really good. Only bikers and infantry. I mean, that makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense, especially with Dark Angels being Dark Angels, right? So they're really trying to push the I mean, you could technically run him from the Index, right? So you could do that if you're an asshole, but hey, unless it was a FAQ thing that I haven't seen yet somehow. I went to reach for my glasses. So, the Deathwing Assault. This is another favorite that I love from Codex Dark Angels. Because, again, big, meaty units of Terminators. That's what I like to see. So Deathwing Assault, use this stratagem. When a Deathwing unit from your army is set up on the board using a teleport strike, they get to shoot as if it was the shooting phase, and then shoot again in the shooting phase. Ooh, buddy. Ooh, buddy. That's just how you mess things up, right? That's how you take a big unit of Terminators, you land them somewhere, and you just shoot away, right? Maybe have a master in there with them, with some sort of relic. Which we'll talk about in a second. You see that segue that I'm pointing out? So with some kind of relic weapon, so that when your opponent comes to charge them, he's there to mess them up with his Heavenfall Blade, right? So that he's there, and, give them that reroll of 1s on that shooting attack, which they'll have again, even if he's gone, because they're not moving. They are sitting there. They are staying there. They are the tip of the spear, and they are staying right in the enemy's guts, sitting on whatever objective you're holding secretly, and they don't know why you're doing it. It's so good. I love it. I absolutely love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. So the relics of Caliban are pretty sweet. My favorite is probably the Heavenfall Blade. Each time the bearer fights, it can make one additional attack with this weapon. It's kind of like the chainsword, but at strength +2, AP -3 with D3 damage. In the hands of a master or a interrogator chaplain, it is absolutely destructive. Just cutting through everyone who dares stand in its way. Especially if you have the warlord trait Fury of the Lion. I probably wouldn't play with my warlord having Fury of the Lion. I would play with my warlord having Brilliant Strategist. But Fury of the Lion, if your warlord is was charged, or performed a heroic intervention this turn, friendly Dark Angels units within 6 inches of him add 1 to their strength characteristic in the fight phase. So if you have a master who heroically intervenes after his unit of Terminators has dropped, then he is coming at he's coming at the enemy with a strength +3, so that's going to be strength 7, AP -3, damage 3 sword when he heroically intervenes. Making charging them just a bad idea, but they're going to sit there keep shooting you if you don't, so there's no good options there except for Psychers. But hey, bring your Psycher over. We'll fuck him up. That's fine. We'll come to him. That's okay. Or he'll get caught up in bikes, right? Get him right caught up in bikes. Yeah, pretty good. Are you bringing in Terminators? I know you told us about your list last week, Progernet, but but I'm blanking on it right now. Are you bringing any Terminators with you? Are you bringing Deathwing? Because it's scary. I'm scared. I'm scared of Deathwing. I'm looking at all this. I'm looking at this book right here, right now, and I'm scared of it. It makes me antsy. Especially Huntsman. So if you're not. Okay, that's fair. I mean, if you're bringing Dreadnoughts or Devastators, then you're probably fine anyway, right? Because you're gonna sit there and just mow people down. Just mow, don't even worry about objectives, just table them, right? Just las cannons, reroll, hitting on 3s, rerolling 1s constantly all over the place. Let's see. Oh, I also really like Foe Smiter. Foe Smiter is great for your warlord with Huntsman. So Foe Smiter is you replace them with a Stormbolter. You replace a Stormbolter with Foe Smiter, which is range 24 inches, rapid fire 2, strength 4, AP -1, 2 damage. And you put that in the hands of your master. And who has Huntsman, right? Your warlord can fire his pistol, assault, rapid fire, and grenade weapons at enemy characters, even if they are not the closest enemy model. So he lands, and he just 6 Dever squads. Ezekiel, Azrael, and Knight Styrex. Yeah, that's right. It's a rad list. That's really rad. It's really rad. Yeah. I wouldn't want to fight it. Especially with that knight. I wouldn't. I don't exactly know what I would do there. I would probably really be running Njal Stormcaller and be really running on on Njal Stormcaller and his whole his deal with wow, I'm blanking. I'm suddenly blanking. Running with not Jaws of the World Wolf. That won't work against Space Marines at all. But Stormcaller. Wow. Njal Stormcaller. Using Stormcaller. I would really run a lot with cover. And so that actually brings me to, now that I'm thinking about it, that brings me to the Interromancy discipline. And so we talked about Trephination and Mind Wipe last time, because they were spoiled, and we've already had a look at Mindworm Aversion and Righteous Repugnance, because those were in the Interromancy discipline before, in Imperium 1. But so let's take a look at the last one, the last the last psychic power that Dark Angels get, which is Engulfing Fear. It has a warp charge value of 6. If manifested until the start of your next psychic phase, your opponent must roll 2 dice and discard the lowest result when taking morale tests for any unit that is within 6 inches of the psyker. And oh my jeebus. Okay, so as a sort of a thematic thing that I'm seeing with the Dark Angels, the Dark Angels have a lot to do with debuffing, right? Not just straight wounding, right? All of them have some kind of way of just straight dealing mortal wounds besides smite. Oh, Engulfing Fear was in the... Man, I'm the worst at this. Excuse me. Yeah, I guess I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. Jeez, I'm the worst at this Progernet. But anyways, so we have a lot to do with with messing with the morale phase when it comes to Dark Angels. And in messing with the morale phase favorably, by lowering your leadership, and, you know, having all of these ways to lower your leadership, right, through the use of Interrogator Chaplains and the Interomancy Discipline. You're gonna, against Dark Angels, people are probably gonna just keep suffering a lot of damage happening then. A lot of people running away. A lot of people just giving up the fight because the Dark Angels say so. And they're doing it all while, you know, accomplishing their secret objectives and keeping you in the dark and not letting you and strategizing around your plans when you have no idea what theirs are. And that's very much in the theme and very lore-like, you know? And I like it. I like it a lot. I really am looking forward to... It's like Null Zone, where it's really good if you're in range and it works, but usually it isn't super practical. Okay. You know, that's true. That's just straight true. Like, there's no... that aura range, right, of 6 inches, it does mean you have to be really close, but you're Space Marines, so being really close is fine. And also, when you have, like, all of these ways of, like, deep striking or, like, having people on bikes and whatnot, you can kind of keep in range. You can kind of keep in there. Or at least you can get in there to do the thing, but you have to plan around it, and you have to plan to use it instead of, you know, just smiting, like smite. Oh, I forgot to talk about in the news. Sorry. Going back to the news for a second. They released some beta rules for 40K, and I don't want to go digging through the website now to look at them. But the concept of releasing beta rules for testing amongst the public is pretty neat. It's kind of like in video games using what's called a public test realm, or PTR, or public test server. It really lets us, the players, try things out and let Games Workshop know what works and what doesn't. And I'm super excited about that, because the Imperial Soup Assassin list. Yeah, they did. And that will, you know, so in doing so, you know, they will, that's a very consumer-friendly practice, right? That really helps enforce an idea that the company is there to do things for their player base. And I like that. I thoroughly agree with it. I'm super happy they're doing it. Hey, Progernet, big guy, buddy, did you check out, have you seen the quick, or not the quick, the easy to build kits yet? Have you taken a look at that? let's see. So, going back to Codex Dark Angels while I'm looking at it. So, while I'm thinking about it, and it's on my lap. I'm going to be thinking about it a lot, actually. So, I could probably continue talking forever about this, especially if I started really digging through it. So, one of the things I noticed here, as far as the... you know what? I'm actually going to talk about something I don't like. All right, so I've noticed here in the stratagems that we don't have a stratagem in Codex Dark Angels, and I'm assuming that it's the same in Codex Blood Angels as well. The Redemptor looks constipated, but the aggressors look good. I mean, yeah, the Redemptor does always look kind of constipated to me. I mean, I think it has always kind of looked like that. But hey, did you check out that price point, though? $40 for a Redemptor Dread. And I can't say no to it, right? Like, I can't be like, well, man, screw this thing, forget this thing, it sucks. It looks constipated when it's $40 for something that's as amazing as Redemptor Dreads are. So, I noticed in here, in Codex Dark Angels, that there isn't a stratagem for making a master or a captain, giving him basically the chapter master rule. So instead of having the rerolling of ones within 6 inches, giving the reroll all hits within 6 inches. And I don't like that. I don't like that at all. I don't like that it's not in here. Even though it's in Codex Space Marines, right? And I especially don't like it because it combining with this special rule that they put. Let me just flip to the page that it's on, where like this. I don't like how the successor chapter special rules work, right? So if a unit from a Dark Angel successor chapter, if a unit is drawn from a Dark Angels successor chapter, simply substitute the Dark Angels keyword on every data sheet with the name of your Dark Angels successor chapter. Right, yes, no, I understand why they did, I understand, exactly. This is it exactly, Project Net, and my problem is they go, okay, you can have a Dark Angels successor chapter, or you can have whatever successor chapter, and then you can make your own chapter master. But then the Dark Angels successor chapters, right? You can't use named characters for your successor chapters, right? So I can't. But then your successor because the make your own chapter master stratagem isn't in Codex Dark Angels. It makes it so your Dark Angels successor chapters can't have chapter masters. Like they just can't do it. They just can't do it. And I think that's lame. Like, why does my Dark Angels successor chapter, the Winged Claw, doesn't, why don't my obtuse angles, why do my dim winged demons or whatever, why don't they get chapter master? Why don't they get to have a chapter master? Like, why is that? Why can't I have a guy? Why can't my obtuse angles chapter have? Why can't they have a guy called Lazriel and he's the chapter master, right? Like, if I'm allowed to have the rules for Dark Angels for everything but Dark Angels except for a chapter master for my Dark Angels successor chapter, like, then why come up, like, it doesn't actually prevent you from, doing this for real. I play as, yes, exactly. So that's the thing. You end up just saying, "Oh, I just play them as Dark Angels," right? But like, so then like, why do they put that? Because that's just what people will end up doing, right? Like, I would, if Space Wolves had successor chapters, right? I'd be like, "Oh, I play a Space Wolf successor chapter called the Night Fangs," and then their chapter master is Ladolf Nightfang, and I'm playing him as Logan Gribnar. So, like, why? Just why is that even a thing? I don't know. It's weird. It's weird, and I think it's a useless bit of ink. Right? Like you play a successor, right? Your chapter isn't painted in Dark Angel's colors necessarily, right? Right, Progernet? But then you still like have a guy using Azrael's rules. So why? just why? Anyways, excuse me for that little bit of ranting. Actually, you don't have to excuse me. You don't have to excuse me at all. There's no excuse for me. Either way, it's a sweet book. It's really cool. And I had something else I wanted to talk about that I actually really liked. I love yours are silver and black. Okay, that's cool. That's a great scheme. I also really love all of the things in here that are about the Fallen, right? Like the Hunt the Fallen stratagem. I really like Never Forgive, Never Forget. I think they call that something else in Codex Space Marines, but I love it as just a great great bit of fluff for the Dark Angels. I also like the Inner Circle special rule, and then how you can give somebody the Inner Circle ability with a stratagem. I really like that. I like that as well. I like all of these things. Although, I think it's interesting that there's no Fallen units in Codex Dark Angels. And then there's only like a couple of things, right? There's Cypher the Fallen, and then the actual Fallen as a squad in Codex Heretic Astartes, which like really secures them as chaos, right? Like we really we've settled in, it's there it is. The Fallen and Cypher, they are chaos. That's it. We know. Like, we as players know for a fact they are chaos. They're the bad guys. Right? Like, okay, that's fine. But that means that they have basically have Grim Resolve as a trait, right? As an ability. They already have it. It's there forever. It's theirs. Hooray. At least a semblance of it, right? Because more of them they don't have the morale boost there that the Dark Angels get, which makes sense. They fell to chaos, right? Their will isn't as strong. But it makes me wonder what sort of future does Games Workshop have in mind for the Fallen? Are we going to see later in 8th edition maybe some kind of like maybe a full codex, like Codex the Fallen, or like with to get as a bit from a little more background on them, right? Because obviously like the first chunks of these books are all lore, or maybe just to flesh out their usefulness, because like I don't really see much use for the Fallen and Cypher currently, right? Like as a force. I probably wouldn't be if I played Chaos, which I don't. I probably would not play like a force that has like a battalion of Alpha Legion and a Vanguard detachment of Fallen, right? I probably wouldn't do that. Although I would definitely, as I'm sitting here looking at this over and over again, and I keep looking at this, the lion and the wolf stratagem, I would definitely play like a battalion of space wolves backed up by a vanguard detachment of dark angels. And that vanguard detachment would probably have like an interrogator chaplain. The only cool thing about Fallen is Cypher, and the whole squad can take special weapons. Yeah, right? Yeah. And that's it. That is the only cool thing about them, right? And the thing is that like Cypher gives them a reroll of ones aura, right? But then they also have the shooty part of Grim Resolve, so I don't understand like. So like that makes it so that if you have a squad of Fallen and Cypher is nearby, he's already negating a lot. He's negating one of their abilities by creating this redundancy. I don't know. I don't think it's so there's got to be like a plan, right? There's got to be a plan there. Hopefully. I hope so. I hope we get more of the Fallen. Right, that's just what I want. I just want more of the Fallen, and I want more interestingness out of them, I guess. I want to see more of them having like both Chaos and Imperium keywords. I like that. I like it a lot. I like the ambiguity, and I think Codex Dark Angels and Codex Heretic Astartes, I think they kind of got rid of a good chunk of that ambiguity, right? Like, we know for a fact here now, as I'm looking at this, the Dark Angels are the good guys, the Fallen are the bad guys. Well, Luther is coming back. Okay. Well, I mean, you know, if they do that, I hope it's interesting, and I hope it's good. And I hope it plays out on the table well, Progernet. You know, and if we get the Lion back, okay, you know, if we get Luther and the Lion back, and I kind of hope Luther has Chaos and Imperium keywords, and I also hope Lionel Johnson has the Chaos and Imperium keywords if they release him, because that would be amazing, right? Like, oh, whoa, hold up. Yeah, maybe he, you know, if you have Lionel Johnson, he adds the Chaos keyword to all Dark Angels, right? That would be really interesting. And having interesting games happen, right? That's the big thing I want. And I'd like them to be interesting for all sorts of reasons, right? Like, I want to play Dark Angels mixed. I want to play a game where I have Dark Angel, a Vanguard detachment of Dark Angels, a battalion of Space Wolves, and a Spearhead detachment of Astra Militarum, right? Like, they can't do that because you could run Magnus, Mortarion, and the Lion. I mean, yeah. Yes, you could. And it would be amazing. And interesting. Again, interesting. Now, like, would it be broken? Maybe. But as far as the things that they want to do where you have, you know, these pillars of play, right? Like they have these two ways of playing, although I kind of think of them as three ways of playing. So you have, they say open play and matched play, but I say open play, matched play, and tournament play, right? Because the way you and I play the game is going to be different. Just based on our interests, right? I am interested in having balanced games that are interesting. So I play matched play games because I like the points balanced game. But I don't like the tournament environment, right? So I don't like to play in tournaments. I'm not hardcore enough to play in tournaments, and I don't think that like, they can be fun, but that's just not how I have fun, right? Now, you, Progernet, right? You like those those games, those sorts of things, right? Where people are playing really competitively and, you know, with maximum tactical and rules efficiency, right? And then some people, they want to do narrative play, right? They want to do narrative things. They want to have like games that depict important battles that have happened already in the history, right? You have like I won't say weird, right? But you have like basically 40K historical players, right? People who are like, oh, could I have saved Cadia? Like, could I have, how about the Siege of Terra? You know, things like that. And so, if Lionel Johnson returns, and he has both the Imperium and the Chaos keywords, right? That, I think, out of the 3 segments of play that I have put out here, I think that it assists and makes more interesting 2 out of 3 of them. Cadia broke before the guard did. Yes, right? You know, and so that's my thoughts on it. That's my thoughts on that. And I just really hope that we see more Fallen. Also this week, sorry, going back to news, I really should have made more notes, or better notes. I played a game of War Machine this week, and it was great. I didn't record it because, you know, I was at the local game store, and I didn't have anybody's permission to record there, so I didn't. Took a couple pictures, put them up on the Facebook. Once again, facebook.com/YMB Miniatures. And it was great. I forgot how much I love War Machine. It's a great game. Very well balanced. And I want to play more of it. And I'll probably be bringing it to the channel as an excuse to play more. So expect to see that in the future. Okay. Let's see. Talked about the news. Talked about that game of War Machine I played. Do you want to see more? You know what? I have questions for you guys, for people who watch this. And if you're even if you're not live, right? Because I read the comments, and you can see in most comments or most videos, I actually respond to comments in as prompt a fashion as possible. I do have a day job, so sometimes that gets in the way. Now, the question is, what do you guys want to see? What do you come here for? Do you want to see more of this sort of this format where I talk at a camera, or Nick might talk at a camera? Do you like bat reps? Do you like live content? I thoroughly enjoy making all of this content. But what do you want to see? Because I kind of want to get a little more focused. Do you want only 40K? Do you want more Infinity? Do you want more War Machine? Do you want War Machine at all? I guess. So let me know now if you're watching live. Basically just you, ProgerNet. Do you want, or if you are watching later, you come to see the live streams and 40K, but you're open to a lot of games. Rad. Do you like the live streamed games, ProgerNet? Because like, you know, not a lot of not a lot of people talk during those in the live chat, so it's hard for me to gauge who's watching when it's happening, and how much people are watching when it's happening. But you know, so like, if people don't like that, I will do pre-recorded content. Like, that's fine, right? It's a little more editing time, right? But it's fine. It's good, right? We know how to do that. So let me know down below. So I'm really excited about Codex Dark Angels as a whole, and I'm really excited about the direction the game's going. It's very supportive of the players, and that's really rad. I don't know. Yeah, you like interacting with the players. Okay, cool. So we'll be doing. So you prefer live, you guess? Okay, right. I kind of have a feel that I'm trying to go for, and I'm not sure if I'm getting it completely here, especially in these videos. in this content, where I kind of want to have this feel of like, you know, you're hanging out at your buddy's house, or you're hanging out at the local game store and people are just playing 40K, but the real thing you're doing, right? Like, people are playing 40K, or people are playing Infinity, or people are playing War Machine, or whatever, right? People are doing mini things, but what you're really doing is hanging out. You know, that's the feel that I'm trying to go for, and I hope I'm getting it. Which is why I really like live content, because if you talk to me, right, and it goes up on chat, then I say stuff back. You know, you have input. You're part of this, right? This is your mom's basement, right? This isn't my mom's basement. This is your mom's basement. It's all of us, right? We're hanging. This is us all together. And together we will get through this together, and we'll be stronger tomorrow. Sorry, that was trite. Okay. So yeah, right? Rad. Things are rad. This is a rad time, guys. I'm really excited. Basically, what I'm telling you is I'm excited. I'm excited for everything. I'm excited to play more War Machine. I'm excited to play more Infinity. I'm excited for all of the newest developments in 40K and new 40K products, even, right? Like, I haven't been like, I'm so jazzed about the easy to build Redemptor Dreadnought. And Aggressors, because I've wanted those things, but their price point is a little higher than I'm necessarily willing to pay for them. And so bringing this down is really good for the economics of the game, right? And I think if that sort of thing continues, right? Because, you know, people get intimidated by seeing the pile of sprue that comes out of the boxes. People get intimidated by the thought of putting it all together and painting things. I'm not, obviously. I love to paint, actually. Love it. And we're working on making some painting tutorials for you guys. And so you can expect to see Nick and I painting things, right? So those will be a couple of new series coming up, which I hope you like. We have a commitment to excellence around here, which is why I didn't do this on Mondays like I normally do, but I think I like Saturdays more now. So expect another one of these next Saturday. Hooray! Yeah. So that's all I have to talk about. You guys have anything to say before I head out for the night? Before I get going? I'll give you a couple minutes here before. Well, maybe not a couple minutes. Give you a little bit of time to type while I look. We are based out of Rochester, New York. Why, you thinking about coming and kicking my butt?
I'll fight
you. Arbiter says he'll fight you, Roger Net. He'll do it. He'll put a pylon on the table. He's not scared. He ain't scared. Hey, oh my gosh. I have again, also, once again, going back to Facebook.com/Your Mom's Basement, or excuse me, YMB Miniatures, Facebook.com/YMB Miniatures. You can check on Work in Progress Wednesdays. You can check out pictures of my recently painted Robute Gilliman, and I think I'm very proud of him. I think he looks very good. Ooh, Texas. Well, hey. Yeah. Oh no, Bobbert Gurley guy. I haven't put him on the table yet. We'll probably see him coming up soon because he's actually sitting on my table right now, looking amazing, and I am really pumped up about it every time I see him. And yeah, so that is, I guess that's it for me. We might be working a lot on you know, making some pre-recorded content, so we might not have any games coming up this week or next. But do expect for sure another This Week In next week around this time. That's going to be about 7:30 Eastern Standard, or Eastern Daylight, I guess, EDT, EST. So mark your calendars, because it's coming. And so like it if you do, comment if you want. Actually, even if you don't want, comment about what do you want to see. Tell me some more. Give me your thoughts down there. Hit the subscribe button. You too can live in your mom's basement. And check us out on Facebook.com/YMB Miniatures. Bye. Good night.